So I thought it's time to catch up on the US dollar index given the volatility we saw heading into last week. Quick recap, of course, is the yen in general has seen some significant levels of volatility. In fact, over 3 days, including today, so far, it's moved as far as it did over the prior 3 months. On dollar yen specifically, reason being is that we had the slightly less hawkish than expected Fed meeting. We had intervention after that meeting from the Bank of Japan or MOF, and then we had the Fed also intervening on Friday. And today we've had the Fed confirm they're effectively helping the Bank of Japan intervene in the future by making it easier dollar liquidity. So effectively, if each time Bank of Japan intervenes, they need to sell US dollars to buy the yen, and the Fed are facilitating that. And that's important dollar index, of course, because if they do keep intervening, that's going to bring a downwards pressure on the dollar index. Now, quick recap of my larger outlook, that I'm still pretty convinced that we've seen a significant top in 2022, lower high in January 2025, and that this grinding movement higher is a correction against this move. So that assumes sometime later this year, maybe next year, I think dollar will be moving to new lows. And what I've been trying to figure out in recent weeks and months is, have we seen a significant top? I can't say for certainty, but I think the probability of that being a major top has now improved. Now we've got coordination between Bank of Japan and Fed. So with that, we've got a nice bearish engulfing candle here on dollar index, double top below 102. Maybe that is a fade into rallies for a decent movement lower. However, when I look at lower time frames, do note that we've got this wonderful set of support levels for the dollar index nearby. You've got that January trend line. We've also got this 200-day exponential moving average, and you've got these swing lows. So purely on a technical basis, I wouldn't be too surprised if we got a minor bounce at least towards 100. Whether it's got the legs to go up, time will tell. It's one of these things that if it starts to move high, it doesn't necessarily need a trigger. Over the near term, looking for a bit of a bounce on the dollar, and then we could reassess its potential for a swing high. So if it's looking for a bounce over the near term, that might be mean reversion potential for the euro and the Aussie. Now looking at the euro, it just so happens that today's high has also respected the 200-day exponential moving average and that trend line from the January high. Not perfect, but close enough, I'd say. And again, I'm not really looking for some sharp reversal here against this move. I think that's unrealistic, but I would, at the moment, whilst we hold beneath this high or thereabouts, thinking there is a chance here for at least a bit of a pullback, then we can reassess the potential for a swing low and maybe a movement higher. And just to reiterate that we do have a pretty decent bullish outside candle around this support levels on the euro, around 140. And look, there's failed attempts to get beneath 140 on the weekly chart and held above the May VBOC. And now I think after this minor pullback I'm anticipating, I think the bulls will be looking to break this eventually higher. And then to wrap up on the Aussie over the near term, just find it quite interesting that we've had this decent move that is now petering out. We've met resistance around the June VBOC for now. Even if it does continue to grind higher, there might be stronger resistance around 71 cents. We've got that swing high in the monthly R1 pivot. So as we get into this week, I'm looking for evidence of potential swing high. And when you think that we've got NFP, 2 ISM reports, and I think they do have the potential to surprise to the upside, and you've got inflationary pressures coming from Middle East, then I think the case for a near-term bounce in the US dollar strengthens, and that could increase the odds of a pullback on the euro and the Aussie dollar. In theory, of course, time will tell. As always, hope that's useful. Wish you best of luck with your trading.